where you can get 50% of your investment back in a tax refund. It's an opportunity zone situation.
Hmm.
I don't know if y'all have heard of those or not, but it's insanely lucrative. So it's not one of those chasing the shiny object. It's been vetted. Attorneys, CPAs, I have the whole SPV document. It's legit. So I don't. If you want to talk about it here, I can, but I
I mean,
think maybe
yeah.
me talk first. It's up to you.
No, that sounds great. I mean, let's lead it in. I mean, tell us what's going on. I mean, you just shot an email. You said we can
So
look
that
at
was
that.
the property in Midland
Okay.
that's been on the market for 400 plus days. It's a lease back 10-year. I mean, it's a 8.5 cap, but I haven't even talked to anybody. One of my broker friends just sent it to me from work,
Yeah.
and there's potential there, but it's expensive. It's a $13 million deal, so we can dive into that later. I haven't even really talked to anybody about it, so just wanted to see if 13 million was in the ballpark or
I
not.
mean, yeah, I think it's in the ballpark, especially if it's a decent business. And I mean, that'd
Yeah,
be,
it's a frac company, and they're drilling and still going to town out there. They're
yeah, I
not
was gonna
stopping.
say it's probably not going away.
Yeah, absolute triple net, 10-year lease back, 3-year renewals. It's
Yeah, it's
got a
pretty
lot of
sweet.
land to expand and put a man camp out there for their workers. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunity here, but it's pretty cool.
Here, guys, I'm gonna share this screen just so y'all can. Oh man, damn it! I need to update my. I can't share my screen. I need to update my Zoom password. So either way, um, no, man. Well, that's. I'll share that with everybody so we can all get on the same page. But um, tell us what else you were just discussing.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with real estate, but there's this medical device startup company I've invested in. It's called Kisio, Kalisio. Medical device startup. It's been around about 3 years. The guy that's in charge of it's done like this is like his 20th startup. He's a Silicon Valley guy. Um, he has already got 5 hospital systems: Stanford, Penn, Michigan, MD Anderson. He's approved FDA. He's approved in the EU. Um, he's got lots of orders. He's looking to expand and grow his business. Um, and part of expanding and growing is he has gotten with an investment banking group that does these SPVs, which is a special purpose vehicles, and they concentrate on bioscience, clinical medical device, and medical outcome companies that are based in, for this particular case, it's Baltimore, Maryland. And so they have an office in Baltimore, Maryland. So that means they qualify. It's an opportunity zone, um, call it opportunity zone opportunity. Um, and so what the state of Maryland is doing is if you invest in this zone within this district, they will send you back 50% of your investment in the form of a tax refund.
Nice. And there's
And
no qualifications. You don't have to have like a real estate professional status or anything
nope,
like that.
this
Wow.
has nothing to do with that. This is a straight investment. I talked to the guys. There's a couple caveats. The one that impacted me the most, because now I got to find after tax. They can't be retirement accounts,
Okay.
right? They have to be post-tax money in a brokerage account. And this fund is limited to $1 million. So like I put in 100K, so I'm gonna get 50K back. The thing is, you have to file a state income tax in the state of Maryland. And what happens is the SPV sends you a K1, you file the tax with them, they process it. Hey, you have no earned income, whatever the K1 says, and then they send you half your money back. And to me, I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, to me, that sounds too good to be true. So
Right.
I called the guy that the administrator on the fund. His name is Jeremy Wilson, and I can send y'all all of this, and you can have your call with him, whatever you want to do.
That'd be cool.
Um, He's done this 34 times. This is his 34th fund,
Wow.
and so they know what they're doing. And the thing is, it expires or the fund closes at the end of August. And with any government type fund, there's a lot of paperwork. So you got to set up an account, send the money in. Then after that happens, they confirm the money. Then they send you these other documents for the SPV that you have to fill out. And then he goes and verifies it and has to get it all through the county government stuff. And they do all that work for you. You just basically give them some generic information. So if you guys want more info, I have an email that has tons of stuff on it. I have an email with the whole investment package of this Kisio medical startup. You do have to be an accredited investor. I guess that's probably a caveat.
Jeez.
And then you guys go from there. You let me know, and
So what's like the maximum and the minimums on this thing? I mean, basically you put, let's say 100 grand in something, you immediately get a $50,000 tax deduction or a credit.
it's not a deduction or a credit; it's a refund, and you don't get it until the next tax year
Okay.
after you file taxes because you get your K1 the following year, then you file for that. So I'm in Texas, so I'm like, well, why would I file taxes in Maryland? It's like, well, your K1 is going to say this, this, and this, and you need to file it. So I checked with my CPA, and he says, yeah, he does these all the time. He does empowerment zones, opportunity zones. This is common.
Interesting. An empowerment zone.
This is not an empowerment zone; it's an opportunity zone, an OZ. And
I don't even know what an empowerment zone is. I've never even heard of that before.
yeah, so it's one of those deals.
That's
So
cool. So
yeah,
so it takes your capital, or can you borrow and still get the deduction? Like, what's the story? Like, is it just
yeah,
all equity
it,
injection?
yeah. And so put in 100, you're going to get 50K back,
Yeah.
just long as it's not retirement account. It can be a loan, it can be from your policy, it can be anything.
Okay.
It has to be post tax or anything that's not retirement.
Okay.
And when you invest in the fund, you're going to get half of it back, but you're still going to remain whatever you put in. That's the amount of equity you're going to get in the medical startup in the device company. So that's not going to change. You're just going to get half of it back from the state of Maryland.
How much are they trying to raise?
This fund is $1 million right now, and if he can get it closed, he may do another $1 million.
That
But
feels kind of small for like this kind of opportunity.
it is small. That's what I asked him, and his name is Rajan. And I said, man, why so little? He goes, well, that's just the Opportunity Zone raise. He has a separate raise for this is like the third round for Kisio. He's
Wow.
just trying to incentivize people to try to. It's a sweetener, is all it is. That's a separate deal. The Opportunity Zone is just kind of a bonus for this. But he's looking for 5 million on the other deal because he wants to do it in phases. He's not trying to scale and expand, and he doesn't want private equity and institutional money. He's dealt with that. He don't want anything to do with that right now. He goes, he can go get that money tomorrow. He wants to try to impact more individual type people.
That's pretty cool. That sounds like something very interesting that I'd be curious to learn more about. Does anybody else have any appetite for this? I mean, maybe we can shoot everyone's email in the chat here, and then David, you can just send us all an email with this information because I like to look at this. I mean, like I text you, I'm gonna have some 1031 money. There might be something that we could use as cash for, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Cool.
happy to.
No, thank you for sharing. That's awesome. Anybody
Yeah.
got a thought or question on that? Cool. All right. Well, I'm curious, David. I'd say that I'd be curious to hear what the
Yeah.
story is. So if you would like to forward whatever you got over, I can get my eyes on it. That'd be great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Cool. All right. Mike Yanahan, what's going on, man? How are you today? Thanks for making it on.
Oh, sorry. Caught my voice there. Doing good, just getting ready. Got to do an old W-2 dinner this evening. So, not thrilled about that. But we got to pay the bills, meet with the docs, meet with the radiation oncologist. It's funny enough, you're talking about Kisio. I'm a little bit familiar with that. But yes, no, I talked to Adam this morning or a little bit before our call, which was great. Just identifying, actually got a couple deals that we've identified. Possibly starting to get the wheels going. One's under contract already, but just dialing in, what my buy box is, and then kind of a side note there, just some of the stuff that he works on and that I'm starting to look at too, as far as, possibly buying a more brick and mortar style business. Had to look at some of those specifics. So a lot of words there, but all that to share that just keeping things moving in the right direction. Learning more, excited to keep on going and keep learning. That's what's going on in my world.
Yeah. No, that's great. And like we say, it's chop wood and carry water. It's as all the guys on here, it's just nothing happens overnight. It's just showing up every day, same way we go to your job. It's like show up, build that rapport, build the foundation, and then as the opportunities do come up and you keep on, especially with those brokers and everybody. I mean, think about it. Eventually, there's going to be a deal that comes across their desk that you've been saying, I've been looking for this. You're the first person that they think of versus, sending it out to somebody else. So keep playing the game, man.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where we're at. I've kind of, Adam and I have dialed in the buy box. Like, if someone's looking for an 8% cash on cash return and a more steady, turnkey triple net, sure, that's great. That's not necessarily what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a little middle of the road value add. Let's stabilize it, a little bit more risk there, but nothing. I'm not talking a $12 million building or anything like that, but something that makes sense and let me do one or two of those a year, right? So let's just get the ball rolling. I don't need to do it tomorrow. I'm not waiting 5 years to do it, but I'm not just trying to jump at anything that comes across. So just really down on that end.
I love it, man. That's awesome to hear. Keep it up, man. Thank you. Fred, what's going on, man? How are you today? It's great to have you on.
Hey, doing good, man. Yeah, not much has really changed since last week. Had the engineer go out to our building today to do some assessments. Should have those plans back from anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. As soon as we get those plans back, we can get this contractor started on this build out. Still waiting. I had to reschedule the call that I was supposed to have today at 3 with the guy that called me yesterday that I spoke with you about.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see if anything comes of that. But either way, we got the ball moving and just waiting on these engineer plans so we can get this build out done. And if we can sell it before then, that'd be great too. But if not, we'll just get this build out done and get this tenant in here.
Yeah. As Mike Yanahan would know in medical sales, that you hurry up and then you wait on other people.
That's right. That's exactly
It's
right.
like you do all your stuff and then it's like wait for everybody else to do their part.
That's right. That's right. No, yeah, I got a call from Mike today. He's on a cruise ship, had a drink in
Okay.
his hand. Good times.
Sounds like Mike's living it up. I'm looking forward to meeting Mike. That's
Yeah.
Fred's business partner. Those guys do a lot of real estate together, so that's cool. So,
Yeah.
well, good deal, man. Yeah, we'd like to hear how that goes once you hear from that investor and how things will shake out with the build out and everything. I mean, that's pretty awesome. It's
Absolutely.
cool. Awesome, man. Adam, what's going on, man? It's great to have you on today too.
Yeah, thank you, man. As always. And as usual, I'm driving in the car, but I think the latest update with me is there's that property that I've been mentioning a couple times. It's two buildings on one lot with some tree area that you could easily, knock down and do something with. I guess it just from some of the lenders I spoke to who are sort of local to the area, recommended by the brokers I've been working pretty closely with. Like it wouldn't pencil for them really, especially because my brokers really advertise this space as like, you want to do outdoor storage, and I don't know if the conservative underwriting by the lender really worked out the way they were planning. So that's also a lot of words, but it feels like if we can have somebody actually walk the property with interest to lease it up. So if that was possible, I think then it would pencil. Like if we could have a contingency to lease, but I think my brokers aren't really comfortable with saying like, oh, in 60 days we could go do that. So it feels like the deal's just kind of not now. And we're holding firm on an offer that's maybe a little too low for the seller at this moment anyway. So, yeah, a lot of words, but that's what I got going on. I think it's time to move on to the next one, at least for now. Just keep eyes open as always. So back to hunting.
Yeah, keep on hunting. And I'd say this too, man, that right now that seller's motivation doesn't sound extremely strong. But the good news is that if he has any mortgage on that property and whether it's cash flowing or not, eventually he's going to be like, all right, I'm ready to sell. Like I'm really now ready to sell. And most people they throw themselves out there, say, I want to sell. But then once they actually believe, I mean, this has been even my own experience where, oh, maybe I'll sell because a broker hits you up. All right, let's throw it out there and see what happens. And then you might get a couple hits, maybe you don't. But then once your mind switches to being like, all right, I actually am ready to get out of this now, your guard goes, the seller's guard goes down, and they're super open minded. That's even when the seller financing opportunities come around, is when you get them past like a little bit of they're just winded from just like staying in it this long. So I think that's another key is in those deals that they go online and they're under contract in a day, it's like, all right, those are just oddball deals. But it's the guys where every single day there's a new offer comes in and it's not even close. But eventually, once they make the switch, like, all right, I'm really now ready to sell. I think that's when he'll come back to you. I think you'd be surprised by that. It's been my experience, at least in the past.
Well, that's validating, man, because I sort of played it that way with my broker when he called me up. He was like, hey, what do we want to do? Like, do we want to counter their counter, blah, blah, blah. I was like, honestly, man, you know, no, I think we tell them we hold firm, and
Yeah.
just based like off of what you're saying, it's like, you know, to give even some context, like he had it at 3.3, which was, I mean, that's well above the value if it had operating in place operating income, right? Which it does not. So it's like
Wow.
we were, they thought they were sort of, they were playing this game a little bit like, oh, we're doing a big favor already, going down 400 grand to be in like that 2.9 area. And I'm like, yeah, well, the building has no income and underwrites. If you at market rent, you're talking like 2.8, 2.9 range. It's like that's a reasonable offer. I don't even think that, if I remember correctly, that wouldn't even put us really at a 10 cap. But as context, it feels like he's playing that game on his end. And it would be, like you're saying, wiser to just hold and be like, nah, when he's really motivated, he can always come back. We'd rather part as friends now, and just let him know, like you said on the last call, like, this is really what I need to transact, and that offer's on the table if and when you're ready. But with that said, I did have one question, because I think I don't want to mix up my concepts here, but it sounded like also in the future, like as more time goes on, a leverage for us is my offer price can actually shrink as time goes on, because it's like, well, look, I've already sort of am paying a cost by not controlling this asset more quickly, and having the runway with the asset. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you are. Especially you can have that leverage where on paper the value might be going down, especially if it was leased. Let's say that there was a 5-year net lease on that building, and the guy was high and mighty and he wanted to sell it for 3.3, and you offered him 2.9, right? Or what, I don't know what the numbers would be, but for every month that you know the deal didn't close, well, there's just lease decay if you really think about it. I mean, that's 1 month closer to that lease expiring. And in my opinion, that's 1 month closer, or 1 month of increased risk, right? So
Right.
there has to be some type of quantifiable justification every single month that if there's a tenant in tow or in place, every month that doesn't close, that's another month of lease getting closer to expiring. And then therefore that's another step up of risk for you, and not to mention the bank. And so every time that the lease kicks out another month, well, then the bank might change their terms based upon the length of the lease, you know. So that's one thing you can consider. Um, you know, it just depends on the deal, of course, depends on the seller and everything like that. But I mean, in those circumstances, man, I really believe that the seller just isn't like crazy motivated. If he's trying to offer a building that has that stabilized pricing when it's vacant, I mean, I don't blame him from shooting a shot, but man, it's like it's no wonder it's just still sitting there, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because I asked a buddy of mine who used to live. He did more like land development stuff, and used to live in South Carolina. He's in Tampa now, but he sort of said, "Oh, that's I've sort of heard who." He actually asked me. He said, "Who's the listing agent? Is that like Colliers or whoever?" And I go, "Yeah, it actually is." And he says, "Yeah, well, I feel like I've heard that they're known for doing that. I don't know if that's anyone else's experience, if they've even worked with them." But he just kind of told me, he just kind of called that out, which I thought was interesting, and it obviously it
Just
seems like
leaving the
what's going
pricing
on.
high, leaving the pricing high.
Yeah, just like making a habit of anchoring very high or positioning against the upside aggressively.
Well, that's not a bad point. I mean, I don't know Colliers that well. I mean, I have a buddy that I bought stuff that from Colliers, but they can anchor a price and here's the thing on this too, Adam, if you think, and this is for everybody, if someone says I'm going to anchor some price, they've probably got a guy that's not crazy motivated, but also too, they're selling to a different demographic of buyer. I mean, they're going to sell to somebody that's got 1031 money and can afford to overpay for something. Because, most of these 1031 guys that we mentioned it last week, they would much rather pay at a suppressed cap rate, or in this circumstance, buy something with this cash, have it sit vacant for 6 months, pay some leasing commissions, and be all in for the cost to hold was 150 grand. They'd rather pay that than pay 1 million in tax, you know? So that's one thought, is you might not be the correct buyer that they are targeting, and that's why they are holding on to that price point. But another piece you can do too, Adam, is, and really for everybody, you make an offer. Let's say you guys submit an offer on a building. Again, it's listed at $3.3 million, a super round number, and you come back at 2.9 million, another round number. And they say, oh, well, we need, again, you guys go back and forth for a second. What I do then is and I've done this in the past, where I come up with some random ass number. It's like 2.922550, like something like kind of random. And the only reason why, it's just because I'm trying to make it look as if I was tactical with my pricing. It wasn't because it's like, hey, this price point, this is the highest price that I can pay. And it went up like another, $100,000 of what your initial offer was. So you went from 2.9 to 2.915525, right? Like something silly like that. And then your broker can reach out to their guy and say, listen, this is the highest that we can actually go. We're not going to explain how or why we're into this number, but this is and then it just looks to the seller as if you had a little bit more thought than just, throwing a dart at a map. Does that make sense?
It does, and it reminds me of the last call as well, where it's like just the way you position your capacity to transact, the
Right.
directness of that goes a long way with not only your broker but everybody you could potentially be doing deals with, even if even if you're not the right buyer at that exact moment.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of that, you nailed it. It's when that opportunity, or you make that kind of top offer. In my book, I feel like it also anchors you as a real person, like a real buyer. You say, hey, listen, this is where we're at. You either take it or leave it, guy. And if you want to leave it, fine. And then a month from now, we'll just revoke it and we'll just come up with a new offer based on the new lease and determining factors in the marketplace, like whatever, right? But my opinion and what I've discovered, I had a building under contract. This is like 2.5, 3 years ago. I was buying a property, I might have told this story before, but had a building under contract for $725,000. At this time, the market, this was 2022 or three, and the interest rates over the summer went up basically like 300 basis points over the course of like 7 or 8 months. And I had it under contract, it appraised for 750,000. So I was like, okay, cool. I've got quote unquote $25,000 of equity. Well, unfortunately, once, based on the income of the property, I was priced out of the deal. Like I couldn't afford to, it wasn't going to cash flow. So I went back to the seller and said, listen, man, I gotta retrade you down to, $500,000, or otherwise I can't do it. It was like 509,000. That was my offer. And he's like, nope, sorry, we're under contract. I was like, well, then I got to let my earnest money walk. So I actually lost, I was in hard earnest money. I lost $10,000 in earnest money. I was like so jaded, right? Like went home, my tail between my legs. And I mean, what do you know? Literally, what do you know? About 8 months later, my broker called me and said, hey, you still want to buy 3rd Street North? I was like, oh God. And he's like, no, I'm serious. The guy came back and it's like he needs the cash. He's moving into something else. I said, I'm sticking to my offer. I'm sticking to what I had. Was it 509? And he's like, let me call him. And we agreed on 509. I said, on top of that, too, I want that earnest money that I had paid before to be included in this deal. And he agreed to it. So the earnest
Oh,
money from like the deal before, and I retraded him down basically over $200,000. And it was like, and just by sticking to my guns, I was licking my wounds out of the gate because of that earnest money loss. But it's amazing, man, especially when I had no control over the interest rate at the time. And then he became way more motivated down the road. And then I said, I'm still where I'm at before based on where we are with the marketplace. And then bam, we transacted. It was pretty cool. It was like you know, and it's still, the appraisal was still for 750,000, but I just couldn't pay it because of the cost of interest, you know. So that I say all that to say is stick with what you know in your math, and eventually these guys will sober up and they'll know that if you're serious and you're wanting to buy, they'll come back and call you, you know? So just a
well,
thought.
I put in an offer that was like, I mean, it was real, very low, like between 55, probably between 50 and 55% of the asking price. And the broker, this is a kind of a newer broker that I've been speaking with, and he was just like that. He was like, he kind of questioned like, is that really what you want to put in? And I was like, absolutely, And I
Yeah.
because the worst they can say is no. So I told him, you know, in so many words, like we're gonna get down like that, see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, if a building is being offered at 3.5 million and you're going there, you wouldn't do this and nobody would, but you offer 1.5 million or something. Then it proves that you're like kind of not serious. Like, oh, I want to transact, but you're not serious because you're not making a serious offer. But but my best thing that I've done is, and I've said this before, I actually like being transparent with the seller, especially if it's vacant. I actually I actually share all of my stuff with my broker and say forward this over to their guy just so he can know where I'm coming from, so he doesn't think I'm just making shit up, right? Like, so you can actually see, hey, this is the reason why my buyer is making this offer. It's because he has to do this, he has to do this, he has to pay leasing commissions, he has interest carry. There's all these costs that go into buying a vacant site or going into buying a property that has a market, a rent under market, like all these factors. And most people would think, oh, well, if I'm just going to tell the seller what I'm doing, well, then I'm just kind of giving him up. He might just go do it himself. But like, how rare does that ever happen? Like, they would have already done it. You know what I mean? And if they go do it, then let them go do it. Like it's not, I think it's a win. I don't think you have actually a downside by doing that. I mean, so what I'd say, Adam, maybe this is like a shot in the dark recommendation, but like, go up that vacant calculator on your pro forma, do the math, and then show them the pro forma and say, this is where I'm at, guys. And I didn't just, pull a rabbit out of a hat and come up with these numbers. Like, these numbers are because of how and why I have to, stabilize this site. I'm taking on significant risk buying a property, borrowing money, and not having any cash flow. I have no income from the site. So, and also you can even pull on the guy's heartstrings a little bit, especially if he's some invest guy. You say, listen, man, Like you started out at one point too. It's all about taking a risk and going for it, just like you did probably back in the day. That's what I'm doing right now, man. So you got to at least respect it, buddy. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm making this offer. If you want to get tango, if you want tango up, you can leave money in the deal too.
All right.
Something along those lines.
Well, I
Just a
appreciate
thought.
it, man.
Just my opinion. Cool. John, what's going on, man? Thanks for making it on today. How are you?
Man, I'm good. A couple changes on my end.
Yeah.
I'm under contract, on that property, and I had that environmental study done. It came back, the report came back, and ended up being a little issue there. There was a case made back in 2022 when they put the fencing in on. I got a fence that surrounds this property, and it hit a tank that was. There's a gas station next door, the neighboring property, and it hit an underground tank that wasn't supposed to be there because it wasn't on their property. So it ended up the gas station ended up being responsible for that. So they had it fixed. My broker called the caseworker on that, and they said everything's been fixed. They got to do a final inspection, and so it's looking like it's going to be 3 to 6 months before it's closed out. So my lender, obviously, that was going to affect some things there. But my lender's supposed to call him. He said he was going to call him today and talk through it. And he thinks that he can convince the CEO we could still close. But I'm trying to figure out if that's if that's what the guy at OCC, Oklahoma Corporation Commission, if that's what he's saying, and we can get something in writing. Then maybe it's still worth pursuing, even before the case is closed out with them. So a little change there, a little hiccup. So kind of was curious on everybody's thoughts on that, on what they, how I should proceed there, and what questions maybe I should be asking that I'm not. I did get my appraisal back. The appraisal came back at 1.28. The sale price is 1.2. So anyways, kind of want to see what you thought.
No, I mean, yeah, would like to hear everybody's opinion as well. John, do you say that the tank, when the guy was building the fence, was not on the property that you're purchasing?
It was under it. That portion of it was underneath the property that I am purchasing. Yes, and it
Okay.
wasn't supposed to be there. So the liability wasn't on the seller, right? And this property I'm purchasing, it was on the gas station next door. So, but it does affect, I guess, this property because it was leaking into the soil and the vapors and all that stuff. But they did, verify the groundwater wasn't contaminated, and it did get fixed. But I guess with the bureaucrats here, it's one of those things that's gonna be a little bit slow on getting everything finalized. So, but when my broker called the case manager on this, they said you're looking at realistically 3 to 6 months, but everything's been done except for we got to do a final inspection. So
It takes I mean, imagine being a part of the bureaucracy like that. What an absolute racket. That is so stupid. Wow.
I know,
That
I
is
know. So
that is crazy, man. Because they're not for profit, right? So stupid.
right, I filed an extension on. It was 2 days before my DD ended, so thankfully I filed when I got that report back. So I filed a extension, and the seller signed off on that. So I got a 15-day extension. We were supposed to close, like August 20th. So that's going to be pushed back if we're moving forward here. But I guess there's still some risk there, and really it won't matter if my lender doesn't if he doesn't agree to lend the money.
Is your lender the one
So
that's on the fence about it? Is he the one that's pushing back?
he was on the fence. I was on the fence until we kind of found out from the caseworker what the details were, because we didn't have the details yet. So now that we have more of the details, well, it sounds better. It's been fixed, been taken care of. It's just the paperwork process and the final inspection.
All right, so hang on.
So
I want to be on the same page here. So you've got your property right here, and the next door neighbor was a gas station or whatever, right?
right,
This gas
right,
station had a tank on your parcel. Is that accurate?
right.
So in what world, I understand that you're buying this parcel. how in the world are you responsible for that tank? How was this
Well,
gas station before the C store, what whoever's owned this, how are they not responsible for any type of environmental study, any type of cost, anything that's, or unless the previous owner, the guy that you're buying it from, allowed him to dig a hole and plant a tank down there. I mean, that just seems, and there's got to be liability, there's got to be insurance somewhere on this. Am I just psychotic?
no, the gas station's taking responsibility. So
Okay.
then they pay for the repairs.
Okay.
But still, I guess there's liability on, the fact that it's on my property, potential property. There's vapors that could affect the employees. Stuff like that was in the report,
Okay.
So,
Sure.
but like I said, it wasn't like a huge spill. It was, some diesel. Didn't get to the water table. So it got fixed. It's just, I don't know. It happened in 2022. Maybe it took a little bit longer to fix than I know, but it's fixed as of now, but it's not finalized because the case still shows open.
I got
So if the lender talks to him and gets a good feeling, the case manager, and decides that he's okay with taking this to the CEO and getting the CEO to sign off on it, and then he said he'll probably have to make sure the title company's cool with everything. That wouldn't hold anything up either. Then he's still good to move forward if I am on it. So
okay.
um, this was like I said, this being my second deal. This is all new to me. So I want to
You're
see
getting some
learning
good
experience.
education right now, man.
Right, I am, man.
I love it.
I am. But like I said, I'm still in the DD, so I can still back out and get my earnest money back. But this is I'm confident in this deal. I mean, I've got a brand new 5-year lease, being
And this is a
being
lease back?
signed. Yeah, lease back, right? Lease
Have you
back, and it's
considered maybe there's an opportunity. I'm kind of just coming up with this and thinking about it, but I wonder if there would be a way to where, especially if you call the caseworker 3 times next week and get a good feeling that everything is going to be all right, they can sign off on it. You call this seller back and say, "Hey, listen, we can get with your banker and say, hey, I'm going to go try and skimp off $100,000 of this purchase," and then you call the seller and say, "Hey, listen, we can close this coming week if we reduce the purchase price by $100,000." Or have you guys
yeah.
developed a relationship or something? Or was he not desperate, but is he more of like, I'm ready to close, I'm ready to get this over with. He's getting like kind of fatigued. Or is he just ready to go 12 rounds?
No, he's not. He's not desperate. He told me he wasn't in
Okay.
a rush.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
not.
Well, maybe
He's
that
not.
won't work then.
But I mean, I see the angle there. I mean, if he was desperate and ready, but he's been real fair with me. The seller has been, and he's
Okay.
the VP of the company that's going to be doing the lease back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I want to keep relationships strong there. I don't mind, squeaking out some extra, equity in the deal. But he also knows that it's been fixed, and it's just by the neighboring property, by their staying on top of shit and getting stuff filed properly. That's why it's drug out. But there's
Okay.
no real issues there, right? Like you're saying. So there was really no liability of him, but going back and anybody that, if I was to back out, anybody that wants to buy this property is probably going to be that's going to be a red flag. I don't know if he have to disclose it or not. But it would be a red flag to anybody looking to buy this property. So I'm sure he don't want to start over. I don't want to start over with this deal. I mean, I think it's strong. I mean, it's going to cash flow almost 40 grand a year.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I like it, and they're wanting me to expand and possibly, we talked about it briefly before, but expand, possibly build another 8,000 square feet on this property. It's four and
Wow.
a quarter acres, so there's room to expand, and they plan on staying long term. So um, I don't know. I mean, do you think it's okay if I call the case manager myself? If the lender's good with it, I'm good with it. We feel like, everything's been done. It's just some paperwork stuff. Is there any reason not to follow through?
Oh man, I wouldn't be like crazy annoying about it. I would just call them and say, "Hey, is there anything that we can do right now?" I mean, 3 to 6 months, and that's a long time. Like that just seems crazy how something can take that long, unless there's like a massive queue. But to hold off for I mean, that's a difference between 90 days and 180 days. You know, like, am I just crazy by thinking that? Like, I'm like 6 months away. Like, that's just silly, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I'm just thinking more just for you. It's like, what I always tell my own team, I got an acronym like, what do you need from me to make this happen? It's almost like, hey, call this caseworker. Hey, I'm the buyer of this property. What do you actually need from me right now to move the needle, like to move the ball down the field? Oh, there's nothing you can do, Mr. John. Oh, well, listen, I'm not, there is probably something that I can do. You go and buy I mean, are they local? Like, where are they close to where you are? This firm or
About
whatever?
it's 2.5. Well, the OCC is in Oklahoma City, so that's about 2 hours away.
I mean, buy them
And
like a
this,
gift card or something. Like every time
right.
that, I mean, I would do like a coffee, like send them lunch, like, because you're talking about a difference. I mean, you just mentioned a second ago, think about something crazy like this. This is what you could lose if you think about it this way. You could lose this. If it's going to cash flow $40,000, you could close this deal yesterday, or you could close it in 6 months. You just lost 20 grand of income.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing other than you just waiting around, you lost $20,000 of income. And not to mention, you're in 2027, you lost all that bonus depreciation because you waited, you know? So I'm just thinking about it of like just urgency, like almost figuring out with these people, how can we create urgency on this deal to close this so that way you can start collecting checks, man. Like
Yeah.
it's twenty
Well,
thousand
I
dollars
mean,
of money that you're gonna lose, which isn't like $2 million, but it's freaking 20 grand, in six
right. So
months.
what if I mean, I can still, if the lender agrees and the CEO signs off on it, we can still close. So I'm not losing that money. I'm just risking a little bit by it not being closed out before I actually close.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, I'm just thinking about you not losing. That's all, not losing money. That's all. I mean, you're talking about risk that's maybe not even there, especially if the paperwork's been completed and now it's just about someone stamping something on there.
Yeah. But I'm with you. I mean, call them and pester, push, do what I got to do to get some answers and try to get some more details to see if I can help move it along. And the other broker, the seller's broker, went to the neighboring property, the gas station. It's just a little C-store, and it's a sweet old couple kind of deal. And they're like, yeah, we've they've been helpful, so they're willing to help us and work with us too. But I don't think anybody's been able to speed up, the OCC. So that's been the agency. So that's maybe my only shot is getting him a little more motivated to, if he can do anything to speed that up.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay.
So I wanted to, a lot has changed. And so, like I said, it's a lot of lessons learned here, but wanted to see what questions or what I needed to do. So it sounds like I'll just push on him a little bit and try to make sure that, all it is just filing paperwork, and then go from there.
Yeah. Agreed. I like it.
Hey,
Anybody else got a thought on that?
I got a thought, John and Nolan.
Yeah.
You said the seller is his broker. He's a little bit on your side, at least, that he's willing to kind of go talk to this OCC, or is he spoken to the OCC on like the seller's behalf?
So my broker has talked to the OCC on my behalf and to try to get some more details. He called him yesterday. And that's who got us the most updates and, accurate information was what was really going on by talking to the case manager. But that was my broker. Yes.
I like the idea, if I'm understanding correctly, of getting this seller fired up. Think of it from his position. He's trying to close out a transaction, right? He's trying to get paid for his asset, and a fault by someone else, placing this gas tank, whatever it is, underground, and then the fault of the OCC taking 3 to 6 months is hindering his ability to sell his asset, right? Like I'm not saying OCC is liable here or something, but I would be pushing to get him a little fired up in conjunction with you, right? Kind of think about that, how you'd present that. But like, look, there's $1 million getting delayed because of things I can't control. I didn't put this tank here. What the heck? I'm supposed to wait 6 months to close on my business, close out my purchase, or I'm sorry, my capital here, right? So on and so forth. Does that make sense?
Right.
I like that, Mike.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think it's smart. Talking to him, he's got something to lose too, right? And like I said, if he's got to go down this road with another potential buyer, this is going to be an issue unless this thing's passed and closed out. But everything's pretty much done. I think everything was in agreement, and then this was unexpected. So I think he probably assumed this was already closed out a long time ago. But not a bad idea to call him, and then maybe call him, and then call the agent or the case manager. Or maybe the case manager first, and then get with the seller and just try to figure out a plan where we can make it happen a little sooner.
I like it, man.
So,
yeah.
All right, thanks for the feedback, fellas.
Yeah, well, keep us on the loop on that, John. That's awesome, man. Keep the ball rolling.
Will do.
Cool. All right. Well, I know we got a few more minutes left, but I wanted to see. I love hearing what everyone's up to. Of course, that's kind of the point of this. But hearing if you guys have questions or thoughts for me or something that you guys are working on in particular that we can go over. Does anybody have anything kind of on their mind? The good news is this, I'd say, is I know I've traveled a lot this summer. I've never traveled this much in my whole life. So I'm done doing that for the rest of the year. So you guys can plan on and count on having these meetings for the next, basically like 40 weeks in a row. So that's good to know, unless something pops up, obviously. But so if something does, and also not to mention too, if something does pop up during the week or whatever, you guys, got my cell and everything, you guys holler at me. So anybody else have any thoughts, questions, opinions, or things that are on their mind? Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone's opinion on this. What I'll do is, again, I'll upload all this, and what I'm doing now too. For those that are not using Claude, I'm discovering how insane it actually is, and it's remarkable actually. What I'll do is I'll upload this recording to YouTube, and then to Claude, and it will give a whole breakdown of the whole. I mean, it's like it can read it like a newsletter. It's pretty sweet. So I'll just send this out to I'll send the video out, and I'll also send the newsletter out to everybody, which is again a couple of paragraphs just recapping what we just went over in the last hour. So I think it's just super cool, and I feel like a kid in a candy store. I know it sounds silly, but I'm like, holy crap! I can't believe how capable it is. So it's pretty cool. So. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate every one of you. If you have something else on your mind, man, let me know. I'll be on standby. All right. Awesome.
Hey, thanks,
All
Nolan.
right. Thank you, man.
Also,
Nolan,
real quick.
talk to you guys later. Thank you, man.
Yep,
See ya.
thanks.